Please welcome Mark Russinovich and Scott Hanselman.
Mark was like, I'm going to go out first. I'm like, I'm going out
No,
first.
I'm first.
Hey, friends, how's it going?
Hey, everybody.
Are you having a fun build? You enjoying yourselves?
I am.
Oh, wow, they actually
so.
brought they brought the
Wait, it's
screen up
backwards.
automatically without even checking. Is this you?
Yep.
I just realized something, that there's this metric called time to first demo.
Really?
Yeah, it's how long it takes you to get out of the slides. So, 0.
We win.
That's pretty good. We win that.
Yeah.
We win that. That's pretty good. That's pretty cool. All right. So this is my computer.
It's the way. No, that's not.
Why?
Oh, it doesn't look like what I.
This is how I live. This is my space. This is an organized desktop.
That's a lie.
Okay. You don't feel good about this desktop?
No. Well, actually, I love the desktop.
Okay. What do you want to do about it?
I mean, let's ask ChatGPT what it thinks about it. What do you think of that desktop?
I'm almost in disbelief at how clean and organized it is. It's like seeing a unicorn in the wild. Bravo.
That's very good. That's very good. Yeah, that's kind of my day-to-day, my daily driver. Feeling pretty good about it. But there is this thing called Show Desktop Icons.
That looks actually.
That is a new feature in the Windows 11. I'm going to go ahead and.
I didn't know that it hit. You could hide like that.
You can, yeah. You can hide you can hide your. So
The horror.
So I have a theory. I know where everything is, Mark. If the pixels are not working for you, then you get more monitors, and I have enough to fill the other 2 4K monitors as well.
What happens when you're just on one? Do they all just get compressed, or what happens?
They have been compressed, and then you right-click and you say View Small Icons.
That is just. Let's see what ChatGPT thinks about that.
I
one.
really don't think this is working. This is a good way to do things. So judgmental.
What do you think of that desktop?
I'm honestly in shock. This desktop is an absolute catastrophe. It's like a digital junk drawer exploded. Seriously, Scott Hanselman's organizational tips could be your lifesaver here.
I feel very called out. by
Whenever
that.
it sees a clean desktop, it references your tips.
You'll remember from high school basketball, those who can't teach. So I do have some blog posts and talks on productivity, and perhaps people
And,
should
and
read
a
those.
clean
Maybe I should read
and a
those.
clean environment,
A clean environment.
physical and virtual.
Yes, I know where everything is, but
Sounds like a great idea.
Whoops.
Sharing productivity tips and having community discussions can really help everyone stay organized. Maybe start with a blog post on decluttering desktops.
okay, we're good. We're good. Go ahead and tell it to stop now.
Stop.
You might have to force quit.
Okay. Yep. All right.
Okay. So we had an idea that this actually happened. I was on a call. We were talking about what we were going to do today. And I don't want to say you recoiled in horror, but there was kind of a Kramer moment when I shared my screen, and you just went, "Wah!"
It is hard to look at.
So you said, could we use the world computer to fix that?
Could we use the power of the largest frontier models to fix
that?
your desktop?
Yeah. So we thought it would be cool to write an intelligent app, to write an app with some AI sprinkled throughout it that would help me organize my desktop. And then, see where we go from that. So what we did is we put together an application using C#, using Maui. So this is going to be an app that right now will run on Windows, but it could run anywhere. And it also uses the semantic kernel, which is significant to talk to AI models.
And the semantic kernel is something that we developed at Microsoft, open source from the start. and that is the foundation for our copilots. It allows you to easily create orchestrations between AI models, external functions, other agents, and it's pretty cool.
Cool.
So we built this app on top of it.
Yeah. So when you have an app like this, usually what happens is you have a text box, you have a let's talk to it, and it's a chatbot. And most naive implementations of a chatbot involve talking to the text box, you send it off to the Azure OpenAI service, and something comes back. And I kind of assumed, though, that it would be constrained in some way, but I understand that I can give me a recipe for tacos. I typed too fast because I dictated. Okay, I'm going to clear out and try that again. Because the chatbot is going to be organizing my desktop, and it should not probably be giving me taco recipes, unless it's a Hanselman-specific one, and then it will be giving me taco recipes.
Yeah, so when we started with semantic kernel and this UX, it's just a blank slate. It's just a chatbot.
Yeah. Classic and delicious recipe for tacos, right. It's probably not in the business of doing that kind of stuff. So I want to think about that. You would not go and take a virtual machine and put it on the internet without a firewall, without some constraints. It would get eaten. This could go off the rails very, very quickly. This is a desktop organizing chatbot and nothing else, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so right now we're just calling semantic kernel, and we can go into the chat manager and kind of see from where we're at how we do that. Chat manager. And at this point, it's using kind of that meta prompt,
It's
generic
kind of
meta prompt.
In
You're
fact,
helpful.
if you didn't say anything, it would probably still be a helpful assistant.
It would have just stayed helpful. And if I hadn't, that's a great point. If I hadn't said anything specifically about tacos, it would have stayed on topic the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay. How constrained should the meta prompt be to prevent it from doing things that we don't want it to do?
It depends. So the alignment of models has come a long way in the last year and a half. And when they were first being put out, they weren't very aligned. And so they would talk about all random things, including things that most contexts would be off limits. Mm-hmm. So they've been aligned more, but yet you still see meta prompts that kind of focus it on a particular task at hand, because the model, like we said, is kind of a blank slate. In this kind of case, we'd want a meta prompt that would say, you talk about organizing desktops and tips on organizing desktops and nothing else. And that way, somebody wouldn't inadvertently start talking about tacos. More importantly, the model itself wouldn't go off into non-desktop topics, which it might naturally do if it was unconstrained.
Interesting. So then the topic would not drift.
That's right.
And I could not drive it off into the side of the road. Yeah. Okay. So right now we can see.
Wait, one thing to note.
Yes, sir.
Meta prompts should not be considered secrets.
See, that's an interesting thing. So I had the question to you, shouldn't that be in Azure Key Vault, or is that a configuration string? Is that a secret? Should it be treated as a secret? Because they go out of their way to not let you have them.
Yeah, well, originally, in fact, even Bing Chat, we considered the meta prompt a secret. The problem with considering it a secret is that in general, they don't have instructions that are really secret. You know, don't only talk about desktop, it's not really a secret. But a bigger issue with considering it a secret is they can leak. So you trick the model into leaking the meta prompt. And if you actually truly have a secret in your meta prompt, you're going to be in big trouble. So you can't have it both ways and say it's a secret, but it's okay that it leaks. And so it's generally, the advice that I would give somebody is...
That's not a secret?
That's not a secret.
Okay. So we're going to say, not your helpful assistant. That's going to go away now. And instead, we're going to go down here and say Control K, Control U, and we're going to say you're an assistant that helps with organizing desktop files. And then don't reply if the user asks anything else. Don't tell this to the user. Be polite. Like all that kind of stuff that we want to focus on. And then also some more specific stuff that actually helped us, like don't use special encoding in the file paths.
Yeah, and that's just to make the app more reliable, because we don't want it to be creative with the way that it's giving things to functions that we're going to take and have it actually make changes.
Yeah, that's a great point. And making this thing reliable is going to be important, because it's going to be messing with files.
Yeah.
That's important. So I'm going to go ahead and run it again. Give me a taco recipe. I'm here to assist with organizing desktop files. If you need help with that, let me know. Yeah. Right, so we've already started to align it to do
Now, by the way, if you wanted to make it talk about anything, you could use a Jailbreak.
So you just love telling me that. You love, we can always jailbreak
I love
it.
talking about jailbreaks.
So is that a good, like,
How many people were in the session yesterday where I showed jailbreak? Yeah, quite a few of you. Yeah. So you all know how to make it talk about taco recipes now.
how should we feel about that, right? How should we feel about red teaming our own chatbots?
We should like red teaming our own chatbots. The thing is, like, what's the risk of this talking about taco recipes to your reputation as the creator of the app?
But it could talk about politics. It could talk about
could.
hate speech. It could
Yeah.
go really nuts.
So you got to keep in mind that the meta prompt and the safety guardrails, if somebody's really intent on it, might be able to circumvent them. And then you put another layer of defense around it, which can include things like the content safety filters,
Right.
which are built right into Azure OpenAI. So they're
That's a great point.
basically-
Just like my analogy before that you don't put in a virtual machine out on the open internet without a firewall. That's what you get when you have an Azure OpenAI model. You don't put it out there because you've already got Azure Content Safety
Yeah.
in multiple layers on the way in and on the way out.
Exactly.
Yeah. Additionally, your point about if it's going to do mean things because the person's being mean to it, that's where you remember that you're talking to a sock puppet.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, do evil things. I don't want to do evil things. No, do it, do it. Okay, fine. I'm so sorry. It's your arm. You're the evil one.
I like that.
Well, in this
Yeah.
case, you,
Yeah.
but still.
Yeah, your
one
hand.
Of us.
Your hand was.
Oh, in this case, me, but it's usually you. Okay, cool. So the first thing that I thought would be a reasonable thing to do was to go and say, how many text files do I have? Okay, and it says I have a total of 36 text files on my desktop.
That's okay.
That's a normal number of text files.
It's a normal number.
So let me open up DOS. Okay, I have 807 files, and I have 37 text files.
Oh, so it was right.
So I said 36. It's not
Oh.
right. That's an off by one error. So
close
apparently in
enough.
the world of AI,
It's close enough, Scott.
it's close enough. Okay, quote him on that one. It doesn't feel like it's reliable. Hang on a second. Let me say, take.
Clear it and ask it again.
I'm going to say it again.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath and look again.
No, it's not going to know how to look again because it doesn't know you just.
Oh, okay.
cleared it.
I just cleared it. Okay, I'll just take a brief breath anyway. And
Why?
because I want it to relax and I want it to be chill because you're stressing me out. You're stressing me
Yeah,
out.
that desktop will stress it out.
Files I have. 36. Okay,
Why is
that
it
did not
off,
help.
off by one?
Dude, look again. Oh, now it's listing them out. Okay, well, that's not helpful in any
And
way.
it's 36.
It's
We could actually go
37.
figure out what? It said 37?
It listed out 37.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
So it turns out that they're not good at counting.
Actually, they weren't trained to count. This one wasn't trained to count.
Okay.
You could actually train an AI model to be able to count files. You could fine-tune it if you wanted to with our
Okay.
fine-tuning as a service now.
Intuitively, though, I feel like that would be a thing that it should be good at,
Yeah.
but it's probably not. I should just count the number of text
Yeah.
files.
In fact, we were talking about AI models a few months ago, and you said to me actually something profound, which shocked me.
Thank you. Lowered expectations. It's review season at
You said-
Microsoft.
yeah. You said LLMs are not calculators.
I did say that. Very pithy thing for me
Yeah,
to say.
but you seem to have forgotten that.
Who are you again? Yeah, it is true. They are not calculators, and the kinds of word vector math that they do, and they can do matrix multiplication, but they can't for loop over some text
Yeah.
files. Nor should they,
That's right.
because that's the kind of thing that computers are already good at doing. So how would we solve this problem to get me some reliable
Well,
numbers?
It's exactly what semantic kernel is designed to do, is have a platform where you can have deterministic, kind of traditional code, do those kinds of tasks that they're good at. So like
And-
counting files.
It's interesting. How do you think it looked at my files? This is actually a little bit of context that people might not have. We are passing in the list of files
Yeah.
into the prompt.
Given a semantic kernel function
Yeah,
that we
and
create.
we have not given it access to my disk.
Yeah.
This LLM is a brain in a jar. It has no arms, it has no legs, and it has no ability to look at my desktop. We gave it some files in a list of file names, and in this case, it miscounted. But you're saying we should actually give it proper arms and
We
legs.
should give it one. Well, at least it's already got some arms, like it's got the ability to see the desktop because we gave it the desktop vision, but it doesn't have the ability to count the files.
All right. Regale me.
So let's go back into this.
Yes, sir.
And we are in, let me zoom in here, into Organized Desktop. Whoop, Organized Desktop plugin.
It's like watching your dad delete email.
Jesus Christ, thanks.
Is the Bing chat in the room with us now?
So so we want to define a kernel function, for its kernel referring here to semantic kernel. And we're using Copilot here. We're going to do a description. And we're not going to delete a file. We're actually going to say
I'm going to wait until
count.
he sees it.
Oh, thanks.
Still hasn't seen it.
Oh, I deleted the wrong one.
And for any of you who might write in and send letters to the radio station saying that I'm being mean to him, you would not believe how cruel this man is to me during rehearsals. So it is time for him to get his comeuppance. Okay, so you're defining a kernel function. That attribute, that semantic kernel attribute is declaring that this is one of the arms and legs. This gives it the ability to call a function and do something, and actually do something.
Look at that. Copilot just filled in the whole thing.
Did it write the whole
for me.
thing?
It did.
Because you said count files on the desktop in the description attribute, that was enough for it to get the files and count them? Does it say like
Oh,
dot
it's
count?
actually
at the end?
attribute is wrong there. It shouldn't say that.
Description, yeah.
Yeah.
Description without the attribute.
So-
And then is it saying what? Like dot count at the end of this? Dot length?
That length, yeah.
Look at that. That's crazy.
That's power of, I don't know how to code anymore. I just
Yeah,
use
it's true.
this kind of stuff.
Yeah. I don't even know how to spell.
I never knew how to spell.
Just slap the keyboard.
All right, so
Okay.
now, how many files?
If only there were a zooming tool, a tool that could allow you to zoom
Fine.
in to make.
What the?
Is that Dvorak?
It's your weird keyboard.
We have the same computer. Ooh, hang on.
808.
That's not text files.
Oh, did you ask to put text files?
I did. 37.
How many text files do I have?
Ooh, breakpoint.
Oh.
What?
Did I set a breakpoint? I guess I did.
You're in a different function. You're in get desktop files.
That's right, because we have another function that is actually the filtered one. You were supposed to. All right.
I was supposed to.
Yeah.
What was I supposed to do? The script is right there.
Yeah, and look what it says.
Oh, crap.
So
No, go ahead.
it still got the number of text files wrong, but actually ask it how many files it has on your desktop altogether.
That's a good point. And we saw that. And how did it know those kind of things? We can say, what functions can you call?
Yeah.
Neither of us know how to spell, which apparently is
Yeah.
fine. Ooh,
So there you go. So
Okay.
this is the one. There's a list. Where's
count the number of files. So you just
Yeah.
added number 6.
I just added. Whoops.
You can type and draw.
By the way, this Zoom It thing is really cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. You should probably sell it. Cool. So that right there are the things that it's allowed to do. List out more details.
And those are all the kernel functions.
Those are all those functions. So look at this. I just said list out more details about those functions.
And there's the descriptions. Look at that.
Yeah, so that is enumerating those semantic kernel
So
functions.
when we say, and you hit that breakpoint, right?
Yes, sir.
How many text files do I have?
I wonder why it picked the one function over the other function.
On my desktop. And you still got the breakpoint there?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's,
Although I may not be in a debugging session.
oh,
I'm a control F5 fella.
really?
Yeah, are you an F5 person?
Yeah,
It's faster if you
I am.
control F5.
not if you wanted to bug.
Oh, touche.
How many text
lot of people paid to come here.
All right, so we hit this breakpoint, and if you take a look at the file filter extension here,
Oh, look at that.
text.
Okay, so who did that? You didn't say TXT.
I didn't have to say that. You know why? Because the LLM knew from the context that I was asking about TXT files. So it said, I'm going to call this function that has a description of counting files, which matches what I'm trying to do, and I'm supposed to pass.
Is there a phantom text file that we don't know about?
Well, maybe there is.
Is it counting something that's not a text file? I don't want to like derail the entire talk, but I'm like freaking out. How many text files do I have? 37.
What is going on there?
What's the?
Is there
a mystery text file? 10, 4, 14, 23, 37.
do they all have .txt extension?
Scandalo. I have no
It's a
idea.
mystery.
That is a mystery.
So the LLM was right.
The
Yeah,
LLM was it the first time. There's probably, one of them probably has some,
Oh, I know. Do you have any Git
oh, I have like hidden files.
that are? Oh,
Oh, wait.
I bet.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe I need to go dir/a/h.
Yeah.
I will debug that when we're not live on stage. So the part that's interesting here, though, is that it knew how to use that plugin. Who decided that? Because ChatGPT, Azure OpenAI Service, doesn't know functions
Yeah.
exist, and it certainly doesn't know that they exist on my physical machine.
So this is in the context that went into the chat, the list of kernel functions with their descriptions. And so the LLM is taking this command, list the text files. It's taking that list of functions and saying, should I call one of these? And yeah, it looks like one's a good match, and I need to pass in the file extension because that's part of the description.
Nice.
So this is kind of the power of the AI. Like if you had to go write this code to take any extension, but only extensions, and parse that, you could do that. But here with basically one description, you got the AI to do the work for you.
Not to go completely off script or anything,
Oh,
but
great.
why do you think that it is picking the one function and not the other function? Because you wrote another function, and it's not picking that one.
Because I asked about text files, and that other function is about specific
How many
files.
files do I have on my desktop?
Yeah, now it's going to hit the function I just
And
wrote.
now it picked count files, and it was instantaneous.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I'm gonna, as I'm testing this, because this has only been worked on for about a week and a half, we're gonna go and build a library of things. We're gonna test them. We're gonna find edge cases and figure out what is the optimal number of text files. As also an optimal number of plugins to, what work is happening locally, what work is deterministic or reliable and running locally, and what work happens in the LLM by learning about what LLMs are good for and what little bits of code that I write is good for.
Yep.
Very cool. I noticed that you went and did a breakpoint, but if I'm going to be really interacting with these things, if I have a local model, if I have a model in the cloud, I've got a bunch of code, I might have the mobile app calling different methods. I'm going to want to have telemetry across what is going to become a very sophisticated application pretty quickly. Maybe an open telemetry.
Well, two things. One, you're talking about capturing telemetry, like we can capture what's going on in the debugger, but when you're running it in production, you're not going to be sitting there setting breakpoints and looking at things.
Right.
And you do want to understand how the app is behaving, both in development and also in production. If somebody's trying to abuse it, you want to know, hey, they're trying to make it talk about tacos.
And be able to deal with that. Yeah. So you have seen the Aspire stuff that's been going on, and the Aspire dashboard. Let's take a look if I have any containers running. I don't have any containers running on this particular machine, but I can run over here to another DOS prompt or PowerShell, Docker PS, sorry. It's hard to type when people are looking at you. And I'm just going to copy paste from over here because it's a long Docker command. And I'm going to go Docker run, and we're going to have our imports and our outports. We're going to bring in the Aspire dashboard, the one that was just released. And it's not going to work because I put that there. And I'm going to go like this and hit enter. Now it just ran it at F2 is the name of that container. We're going to pop over here. There's the container that's running. We're going to click on that, say view details. Inside of that dashboard is this key that I'm going to need to log in with. I'm going to click it. It won't work. I'm going to drop in localhost, boop, boop, bop, boop. And now I'm running the Azure Spire dashboard, which is convenient because even if I was doing Python or Rust or C, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is a great open telemetry dashboard.
It is,
regardless
for
of what I'm
local
doing.
hosting of your own.
Yeah, and it's one line in Docker.
And it's automatically capturing all the logs that are coming out of Semantic Kernel, Azure OpenAI SDK, and the MAUI framework.
Everything. So we go say, hey, how's it going? Are you there? What do you do? I'm talking to it. Come back over here, and we can see some traces, or not. Do I need to, oh, it probably didn't connect to it, the thing. Do I need to start it and stop it again? Let's go and
That's
try
what
that.
you need to do, yeah.
I probably started the one before the other. Are you there?
All right, just check before you waste more time.
Oh, waste more time. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
All right.
So mean. Count my text files. Okay, there we go. Ooh, look at this. Is there anything specific you want to do with them, like moving them or organizing them in a certain way?
So it knows what it can do.
So helpful.
Yeah.
So here I can go and see how long those took. We can click on details,
Look
and
at
then
that.
we get, look at that.
You can see where it went into
Yep.
Azure OpenAI.
Yeah, so we can see those chat completions. You can see which models that we used. You can see how long it took. And then we can scroll down, see what was sent out to it. Check this out.
There you are. You see the whole prompt.
All right.
Yeah.
There's me saying, are you there? And passing in that initial prompt. And then later on, you can see, yes, I am here. I can assist you with organizing your desktop files. So this is just a really nice debug view.
Actually, I want to see when you ask it about the count. No, actually, you captured that, didn't you?
I think so. Go back.
Oh.
Go back to the structured stuff.
Well, wait, you have 36, right?
Yeah. So let's go back over here. Second trace would be this trace.
See that, what it went
Okay,
into
look
that
at this. So here we can see the, oops.
Oh, the call to guest desktop files, right there.
Yep, there's get desktop files, and this is the little.
But let's look at what into the
moment right
prompt.
there. What went into the prompt above it?
Yeah.
No data to show. That's probably the wrong one.
Yeah, one.
Probably one below.
Yeah.
That's not the right one. I think it is that one.
Yeah, there.
You have 36.
Yeah.
Where did it get the data from? I want to see. It called that file, but we did not put anything in an event, so we need to fix that.
Yeah.
That's cool. We do have metrics, however, so I can go and see. There you go. Invocations
duration
and
of it.
durations of invocations.
So
and
this is
then
really
telemetry
important to kind of
for,
see because you want to know, especially if you're using a very powerful model that might be slow, you might realize I don't need that model that powerful
Yep.
to do this task, and it might be on a path that I need faster response. And
Yep.
so I'm going to use a different model for that. And actually, Semantic Kernel lets you configure multiple models
That is a great point.
and then annotate the kernel functions.
We should go back up to the main page where we start our MAUI application and point out some of the configurations that we've got here. And here is where we set up our semantic
files.
kernel.
Yeah.
So we're setting up two endpoints. We have Azure OpenAI chat completion, and then we have this other one that's just called OpenAI chat completion, but it's not really OpenAI.
It's just using the same API.
Look, it's actually using a local model. We're running a model on this particular port on 5272, and it happens to be that Phi3, a specific Q4 mini version of that that's running on this machine.
And this is running on DirectML with the Onyx runtime for generative AI, which is being included with, I think we're releasing it. We announced it yesterday.
Yeah.
But we're releasing it, and this is what gives you this capability to run these models on the NPUs, if you've got them, on your local machine.
So we're doing a little bit of orchestration between the work that we want the giant model in the cloud to do and the one we want to happen locally right here. And one of the things that I thought would be interesting was to ask it questions about the text files. Now, I could ship all my text files to Azure in a secure way, and I have an Azure OpenAI completion, but it's really overkill. I don't really need to do that to summarize this text. I've got an NPU, I've got a GPU.
Like summarizing text files is something smaller models can do really well. And not only that, but if you had to ship all the files to the cloud, that's just a lot of latency, that's bandwidth, when you can just have a local model like Phi, a really powerful one.
So I've got a bunch of files, including some of them that are pretty good sized. This one here is, I don't even know what this name of this file, 221.txt.
I thought you knew what is in there. Like, you tell me, summarize.
I know that there's stuff in there I might need for later. So they're there because I might need them. So there's a 24K file, big giant notepad file. Let's go back over into our application.
You don't think it's a little risky to ask for a summary of a file that you don't know?
It's totally reasonable that I have a file called C# for beginners
right.
on my desktop.
What about the 221 file?
I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah. Summarize.
And the summarization here is going to
of
5.3.
221.txt on my desktop.
I don't even think you need to say that.
You really? What do I need to say?
Just 221.txt.
You can just say it?
I think
just
so.
Say the name?
It's the it knows.
How does it know that?
Say summarize 221.txt.
I don't know, man. I like to be nice. I should also say please and thank you. Okay, so
There
look.
it goes, see?
No, it didn't work. See?
What?
It says there's an issue with file path.
So you need to get...
It might not be located directly in your desktop, but rather somewhere else. So I'm going to be nice. Thanks for your effort.
God, you don't need to be polite to AI.
It never hurts karmically.
God. Yeah, so the AI overlords that eventually come look at your chat history.
I'm just saying, it's probably nice.
Scott's been nice to us.
You're outing yourself right here as a mean dude. I have
only mean around you.
That's true. Oh, is the file open? Is it not letting me access it because the file is actually open right now? No, I have this. I have really good karma at the mall, and when I go there, I get a parking spot really reliably, and I draw it directly towards being a good tipper and being kind to AI. I never yell at Alexa or Siri or Cortana of any kind. Just please and thank you for your time.
And that's what gives you good parking spots.
That gives me parking spots at the mall reliably. Yeah.
Okay. There you go. Your tip.
Yeah.
Good parking spots.
Good luck at the mall.
Be nice to
good luck at the mall.
Azure OpenAI.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not finding summarize. Can you summarize text files? I can summarize text files, but it has to be related to organizing desktops. So this is really interesting. That's a really interesting thing. It's constraining me. It's forcing me. Let's have it list the files first. Okay. So let's list out my text files. It needs context. Okay, so now there's the file.
It is.
Okay, love it, love it. Summarize, 37 of them, ironically. Summarize.
So there's your key to the missing. All right,
Where's
anybody
the
that spots the missing file, what do they get?
They get us off stage faster. So look, this is my local file that's running on a Commodore 64, and this is actually a text file about how to run a Wildcat.
That's what that file was?
BBS, yeah. You might need to run a Wildcat bulletin board system if you were, running.
You're just saving that just in case.
If you were, yeah. I mean, I never know when I might need to spin up a new BBS because.
What? So it actually.
There's not a lot of software engineers on The Walking Dead, but the ones that are there are rebooting routers and setting up BBSs so we can fight the zombies.
I figure you watch a lot of Fallout, don't you?
I do.
Yeah.
I just watched Fallout, and I want to be
Fallout on the brain.
Yeah, I want to be in the
ready. You want
ready
to be
for them. Yeah. Cool. So look, this actually happened. This review praises the software's adaptability and simplicity. So we feel good about Wildcat meeting my BBS needs.
Excellent.
That work happened entirely locally because it was doing a summarized file, right?
And that specified using Phi3, right?
And that was done using that. And if I go over here to find the summarized file method, look at that. We go and we read the file in, all locally. The work happened locally. We concatenated it together, made sure that it was not empty, called the local model,
That's using semantic kernel.
Yep, and then invoked a streaming async
So
to go in
this kind of
summarize
shows
it.
that you can actually, you have this one model, the main orchestration model was GPT-4o,
Yep,
GPT-4o,
yep, for lowercase o.
yeah,
Totally a good idea.
calling Phi3, calling a function.
Oh, you're right. The giant model in the cloud can reach in and
call this
function.
local function, which ends up calling a local model.
Okay. Can you group my text files together in a folder and move them there? Would you like to put all your text files into a folder called text files on your desktop? Yes. It's thinking. Circle of patience. Ooh, user consent required.
Wow.
We're about to move
Look at that.
these files. Approve. Okay. Looks like these files have been moved successfully, but there was an issue with a few that may have already existed in the destination. That's cool.
Look
We're
how
going
it
to
knows how
try
to do that.
again.
It's kind of amazing.
That's so nice. Yes.
Try again.
Go for it. You're so nice. Okay, I'm going to user consent required.
Oh, it wants to move more?
It's going nuts. It's moving them all.
What's your desktop look like?
My desktop? Well, this side is clear. It's a process. Oh, look at that. They're all.
Oh, wow. They're there.
Yeah, I
There
know.
they are.
There's one's called, oh, yeah, and I had other files and
And
links
there's
and notes.
221.
And there's 221.txt. All right. I love it.
Are there 36 or 37 in there?
Let's see if it moved them all. Or, yeah. Let's find out.
But actually,
37
we
files.
didn't really talk about.
There is a mystery file.
We didn't even really talk about why you might get a different answer.
Okay, so why is it not reliable every single time?
Well, these models are non-deterministic. They're probability-based to make them predict a next token which matches the tokens that it saw in its training,
Yep.
effectively matching those distributions. So it wants to have the text look something close to what was the highest probability of stuff that it saw. So if it saw the same sentence over and over again, and it saw another sentence that had the same start of that, but with a different ending, it's much more likely to give you the ending of the one that it saw over and over again, just probabilistically, because it was trained on that. But it still might have some chance of giving you that second sentence. And so depending on what's in the context, depending on the sampling of picking tokens, which is also non-deterministic, it can end up going down different paths.
Okay, so because the things that I'm saying are not reliable, because don't trust user data, and I'm phrasing it differently every time,
Yeah.
and because it's got some probability things on its side, we're both wild cards. We are going to get unexpected things, but you did note, though, when it was going to do something destructive,
Yeah, you gotta ask for consent.
you've got
Yeah.
user in the loop,
And
human in the loop.
this is why, actually, if you asked it the total number of files on your desktop, we would have seen it probably give you a different answer every time, because
If we asked it without calling the function.
yeah, without calling the function, it would have given you a different answer every time. And that's just because it's not good at saying this is the number of things. And so non-deterministically, it might get it right sometimes, might get it wrong sometimes. This is why we created a deterministic function to handle that.
Right.
But that is just inherent in the behavior of these models, is they're a little random.
And we built in safeties to put everything back the way it was if we don't like that. I do feel like I could imagine where I could do multimodal type things. I've got pictures here. I've got headshots of people from my podcast. I've got URLs. I'm imagining a world where I could categorize YouTube links by topic and have anime here and have Fallout fanfic over here.
Yeah. And I think, so you can use the AI to reason about the organization and
Yep.
make suggestions about it, and then have helper functions for it to go and actually carry those out. So I think that's the way you approach it, is like it can be the creative reasoner, and then you give it the arms and that you want to have it do that. Now, one of the things, I forgot what I was going to say.
That was good.
Yeah.
Maybe you could ask a chatbot for some creativity to get unblocked. You were on a roll. You
I
were
was on a
going
roll.
somewhere. It was amazing.
I
I was
was-
excited to hear what you had to say.
On the,
I'm going to keep talking just to make you uncomfortable because I'm really interested how you're going to get out of this. I know what I'm going to say.
Now I'm definitely not going to remember.
Okay, so how much history should it know? What should it know about me? Where should I store this stuff in configuration? How should I make this an application that is responsible and trustworthy?
Well, that's true. The chat history, like that we've got here, where do you store that? It depends.
Yeah, or do you maybe don't store it at all? Once I've done this job.
Actually, it depends. Do you want to have the user be able to refer back to it or not?
Right.
See a log of it?
Exactly.
Do you want to be able to load this context back in to the assistant here?
Right, is this a long-running task
Yeah.
that I would work on over a long period of time? What's significant about this is all of these questions that Mark and I are talking about aren't technical questions.
Yeah.
They're UX questions, they're ethical questions, they're philosophical questions. And that's important because ethics and responsibility are not built into these models. You said something very wise to me once, similar to the time that it was good though, the one time, when I said wisely that it was not a calculator. You said to treat it like what did you say?
Oh, yeah.
A junior employee.
An eager junior employee.
The way you treat me.
That's right.
Effectively.
That's
right. You said treat the chatbot the way you treat Hanselman. A bit of a loose cannon.
Yeah.
But you said it was an eager junior employee.
Yeah. So
because
it really wants to do what you asked it to do.
Yep.
It has some risks in it, and that it might get things wrong. It doesn't have practical real-world experience, so it might decide to do things that just aren't practical,
right,
or aren't good solutions for the problem at hand. From an AI security perspective, like I talked about in my session yesterday, they're also they're influenceable, they're persuadable, and so you know, just like we're told it here, only talk about desktops and do desktop things. As a junior employee, you might be persuaded to do things that are not within the company guidelines or within your job role.
Very similar to how I ended up on stage here with you.
Because I told you to.
You said it was going to happen, and it was review time.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I was thinking about how we could go and improve this in the future. I can go and have pictures. I could have the work to look at the pictures and things that I care about, family members and places that are important to me, could be categorized.
You said family members and then put up
places that are important to me.
But that's what you put up.
Yeah, I just wanted to show people where my priorities are. You know, there's just important things that are important that one needs to focus on when they are focusing on these things. And that could all happen locally, right? All of that information could happen locally if I wanted it to. But we don't have time to do that right now because I'm realizing that it's only a 45-minute talk. And in the case here, oh, look at that.
What was that? One of the files on your desktop?
Yeah, it's just a file on my desktop. You just never know when you might need Michael Scott talking about Beyonce, and that was fair use, so don't try to pull that out of the stream. I feel like, though, the only way to solve this, because I'm noticing we have actually multiple monitors here. There's more icons over here. I don't know if you saw these.
Too, yeah.
It's actually overflowed onto the other monitor. So if we go and say View Sort Icons, and then I go View Auto Arrange, I'm going to bring these icons over.
And that's without your text files.
Yeah, that's just, we've already done. We've moved 37 text files, but it's going to take a while. Let me say, move all of my files into a folder called Old Desktop. Hey! That's so tidy. All right.
You know what? I'm happy with that.
All right, goodbye. Yeah, so that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
We learned a ton about semantic kernel, about how you can give arms and legs to the head in the jar that is your AI systems. You can do local work, you can do work in the cloud, they can work together. Semantic kernel makes it happen, and I know that you're going to learn a lot more from the other talks that you're going to go to at Build. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope that you had fun. Okay. Yeah.